Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, welcome to Matchbox May. As if you hadn't had enough in Matchbox March, more Matchboxes show up. I'm going to have a couple of items, well several items actually, that are going to be I think of some interest to you, including the figures, the thing that I really feel I missed out on. Not the first time round because I had them all, but I just don't seem to manage to pick up any figures in recent years in the way that I have with the kits for my collection. So that's a bit of a shame, really. So I've actually made a bit of an effort this time, and I've actually managed to pick up 3 decent examples, varying in the sort of standard that they're in and the condition, but all very good in fairness. And we've got the American Infantry. We've got the Africa Corps, and we've got the British Infantry, which is actually still sealed in the box. I'm not sure I'm going to open that or not. I think I'll have to, though, won't I? I'll have to open it very carefully and just use the knife around the edge, because that's a mint example, and I picked it up for a very sensible price, so I'm very pleased with that. So we've got some figures to look at. Later in about a week's time from when you're watching this, we're going to have a case of something interesting that's being loaned to us from our good friend Jason at Model Kit Stuff. He's an enthusiast of this particular genre, and it's as though he might say to me, "What do you see?" And I'm going to say, "A bloody big ship," to quote James Bond from Skyfall. And of course it's going to be the 1/72 scale Flower class Corvette, a model I've never had in my hands before. I've never actually seen it up close. And it's very spoken of very highly by most modelers. That's, you know, a lot of modelers, even ones that were not fans of Matchbox, seem to like that kit. So he's going to loan that to us. It's not an absolute premium mint example, but he assures me that the plastic is in excellent condition and the contents are pretty good. It's just the box I think is a bit battered. That's going to be very interesting to see, something completely new. So I should keep an open mind. The only thing that worries me about it is I don't know. Jason is he's known really for his bit of an expert in the field of ship kits, and I'm not. That's one of my weak areas, in fairness. So I have no idea what a mizzen is, or a folk stall, or all these other nautical terms. I've got no idea what that is, and I certainly don't understand what the poop deck is. Or do I? Maybe it's not what I think it is. Anyway, moving on. More jokes, more nautical jokes next week. In the meantime, let's have a look at these wonderful Matchbox figures. So these are the 1/76 scale figures that, of course, are to go with our Matchbox Armour range. Now, some of you may recall. I'll just get it out. I've got a feeling this may have been provided by Jason, or I can't remember if it's him or in the kit. But anyway, this is what used to come in the kits when you got those armour and diorama sets. And you would get a gang of figures, rather like you're seeing here. There we go, got some focus in the end. And they would be in the hard plastic. So what Matchbox decided to do, to compete with the likes of, you know, Airfix and others that were doing model figures at the time, they produced them in a softer type of, slightly more rubbery polystyrene, that was kind of suitable for younger kids to play with and have soldier sets, you know. Or the more serious modelers could actually paint them up properly and include them in dioramas and have a whole range of figures in a battle scene, for example. So that's what we're going to look at. So we're going to start with the American Infantry, and I promise you actually, prior to this, me switching on the video recorder, I've literally not opened the boxes, so I haven't looked inside at all, which is a bit worrying, so I may not find what I think I will. Well, let's have a look. So we'll zoom in and we'll start with the Americans first. Here's your American Infantry, and again, it's quite amusing in a way, because there's a slight, I think cartoonish is a little bit harsh, but there's always a slight tongue-in-cheek style to the Matchbox figures in particular, because they really do show them in the poses that you get in the set, which is actually a good thing if you think about it, because Airfix were a little bit guilty sometimes of, you know, they'd have the great artist Roy Cross, who by the way recently has passed away. More on him later in the week. I'm going to do a bit of a tribute to Roy. But they would do these beautiful artworks, and then their figures wouldn't necessarily really correspond to the beautiful artwork that Roy had done, you know. Here Matchbox, in fairness, have tried to make sure that it does, you know, the poses that it shows them in here are exactly what you're going to get. So that's really quite a good thing, I think. So let us have a little look at these. So you can see here there's a mortar team, there's a 50 cal machine gun team, you've got Officer with his Colt 45 it looks like, and then you've got a grenade throwing guy, you've got one with his bayonet out here, and then you've got a rifleman here with his Garand rifle. And then on the side it shows you in detail exactly what to expect in terms of how the pieces are going to look, and here you go. Now that does show them painted up, of course, but there we go. So it's they don't call it PK for some reason, P5002 they call it. Now this is an original one. Sadly they're not in mint condition in terms of being on the sprue, but we have got a mint box. I say mint, it's a little bit, the window's going a bit. But you get your paint guide on the back, and it's pretty much the same paint guide for every figure really. So you've got some US olive drab, gunmetal for the gun, chestnut brown for its pouch, flesh obviously, black, and a bit of khaki drill for the strapping. But let's have a look at what we've got inside, because as I say, I have honestly not opened this. This is the first time I've opened this box. Now these guys are all loose, I know. Might be quite difficult to show you. Oh, we've still got some of the sprue. We've got still got the mortar on its sprue. Well, that's something, isn't it? Okay. And they did have a slight tendency to be a bit flashy, unlike the kits. The kits were notorious for not having flash. Now this is a different manufacturing process, and it's a much softer polystyrene. So this actually, you can see it's kind of got that rubberiness to it. It says, focus, slight rubberiness, you know. But yeah, there would always be. What was good about them was that they normally would have the sprue attachment point. Get some focus. Would be on the top of the head and one underneath the base, and they're all on a little base. And as you can see, I'm going to have to bring this quite close, aren't I? As you can see, this is the Officer with his Colt 45. They're maybe just you can probably see this better than I can, because they aren't, obviously they're not big, but there is a hint of flash, and that was typical of them, down to the manufacturing process, I think. But as you can see, it's a nice little figure, isn't it? That goes nicely with your Chaffee tank or whatever. So I'll get one of each type out, and we'll have a look at each type rather than look at every single piece again and again. Is that the same guy? No, it's in two different poses. Okay, sorry, I need to zoom you back. Looks like I've gone green screen on you, like I'm doing Star Wars or something. May the 4th be with you. Oh no, that was at the weekend, wasn't it? Sorry, a bit late for May the 4th jokes. So what have we got? We've got the guy with his bayonet. Looks like he means business. They're actually really nice figures. Oh, one of them's been painted. Oh, how could you? Well, that's soon. Don't worry, I can soon get that off with IPA in about 20 seconds. Quick dip in IPA and a swab down with the cotton wool pud, and that'll be as new. Now, have I got them all? Oh no, we've got a guy here, the mortar guy. Oh, these are excellent. So you'll have to just bear with me a second while I'm somebody's saluting. I'm just trying to sort out the ones we already got versus the ones that we haven't yet seen. Now, of course, we haven't got the actual mortar because it's on the sprue still, so that will remain there. Bazooka Man, here we've got him. I think that's everybody. And I'll now show you what they look like properly. Grenade thrower, that's the one I was looking for. Grenade Man. I think that's everybody. Everybody? See there, Rifleman? Yes. 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 That's them all. Right, okay. It's one of those things, it's a bit tricky because they're not on the sprue to actually show you, so I'm going to have to show you these one at a time. So, let's go with the charging, GI charging with his bayonet. Which is nice, isn't it? They're a nice little figure. They really are. I think they were actually a bit underrated, these, to be fair. I think people saw them as a sort of cheap alternative to the Airfix figures, but Airfix figures weren't that great at the time, to be honest, and they were even more flashy from what I remember. That's a nice one. The GI with his charging with his bayonets. That's that one. Then we've got the same guy now getting quite vicious now, getting down to business with the bayonet. Probably on, you know, Guadalcanal or Iwo Jima. Yeah, bayoneting the ground. Possibly a Japanese soldier. Oops. I think it's a bit brutal warfare when you sort of see this sort of pose, isn't it? But yeah, there we go. So he's quite a nice figure as well. Then we've got our 50 cal machine gun man with his big, big Browning, won't it? 50 cal, I guess. And again, you know, he's quite nice. He's quite nice. Whoops! It's hard to hold. They're so tiny. Look at that. I bet this is bringing back memories for many of you. I bet loads of you have these soldiers. Then we've got our grenade thrower. I like this, one of my favourites actually. If I can get him to focus. There we go. There we are. Grenade throwing man. Here we go. GI throwing a pineapple. A Mills bomb grenade. Who invented the grenade? I'm just trying to think. Was it an American invention? I'm thinking of the Mills bomb in particular actually, rather than the concept. I think it was British, wasn't it? I think it was a British World War One around that time, the first time it came out, and I think the Americans just made them under license. Correct me if I'm wrong though, feel free to correct me if you know more about the history on that one. But he's quite a nice character, isn't he? You can see he's got loads more grenades strapped around his waist there. Yeah? Isn't that nice? Really cool. Then we've got our, looks like, sorry about the focus, it is a bit slow. We've got our chap who looks like he's saluting. Either he's saluting or he's sort of squinting into the distance. I think he's saluting, isn't he? Saluting to an officer. Then we've got the flamethrower man. Ooh, there we go. I don't think my camera's had its Weetabix this morning or something. Flamethrower guy, here we go. That's quite good though, isn't it? And he's got the tanks on his back. What was it? Kerosene and petroleum jelly, wasn't it? Flamethrowers. Nasty stuff though. Tell you one thing, if you get shot though with that on your back, you're in trouble, aren't you? Because that goes up. Whoa, that's the end. We all saw that in Saving Private Ryan, didn't we? Very horrific scene where the flamethrower guy gets hit. Just goes up in a ball of flame. Nasty. So here's the guy taking aim with his rifle. His Garand M1 carbine, isn't it? Then we've got our bazooka man. Come on, come on. Oh dear, oh dear. Because they're so small, it doesn't see it as the whole of the metering doesn't see it as the whole of the picture, and it thinks it's insignificant because it's so small. But it's not insignificant when you've got a big bazooka in your hand like that. Look at that. It's epic, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic. Then we've got the chap with his grease gun. It's not the best example. Actually, I'll show you this stuff. I'll show you anyway. But this is not. This has got quite a bit of flash on it. I think you can probably see better than I can. Let's see if I can find you a better example, because there are several of them. There's a whole clutch of them, in fact. And then we've got him in a slightly different pose. I think this is the better one actually. Slightly different pose. He's not particularly flashy. But, you know, the creases and the clothing, it's really well done considering the tiny scale that it's at. It's really nice as a figure. Look at that. They're really good, aren't they? That's a really good, quite a cool pose he's got. Reminds me of the Bridget Raymargan that does that pose. Just going back to the mortar, you can see there the mortar complete with its base plate and its kind of support bipod there. And this is the chap who'd be commanding the mortar crew, I suspect. If I get it to focus, there we go. And his binoculars, and he's could do a bit of clean up on the top of his head there. It's been cut off a bit crudely, that one. But yeah, he's obviously spotting for the mortar team. Yeah, but isn't it a nice figure? Yeah. Brilliant. We've got the guy with his Garand rifle who's kneeling down to take aim. Again, another nice figure there. Good detail all round on his ammo pouches there on his waist. And then finally we've got the two men who are actually loading and attending the mortar team themselves. Here we go. One chap with a mortar round is about to drop down the tube. Huh. It's good, isn't it? Good detail. And then my personal favourite is this one, who's actually crawling. I'll show you this way actually, from the best of my hand, like that, crawling on the ground, and he's handing the guy that you've just seen. He's the one that's handing them to him, I think, from a box of mortar rounds. Isn't that good? Yeah, and the mortar round in his hand, look. Again, good detail on the strapping and the webbing and on his ammo pouches and things. They're all there. Absolutely brilliant, those. I really like these, I've got to say. I liked them the first time round, I like them just as much today. And then, did we look? I can't remember if we looked at this guy or not. This is the officer with his Colt 45. I think we may have seen that at the beginning. What a nice set though, eh? What a nice set. So that's your American infantry. Now let's put them in the box and have a look at the Afrika Korps. I can't quite remember if I did have the Afrika Korps or not. It's a pity that somebody started painting one of them. They are quite tricky to paint now because they're quite waxy, this plastic. It's like a polyurethane. It's almost like a PU rather than PS type material. And you definitely need to prime it, I think, to get a decent paint job on them. I won't be doing that with mine, of course. Oh, missed one. Mine will be remaining as a collector's item. There we go. So let's have a look at the Afrika Korps. Zoom you in again, and fortunately somebody has written on these, telling you how many there are of each. Not sure that was entirely necessary, but anyway. But I got this at a good price as well on eBay, in fact. Box is in reasonable condition, a little bit dished as you can see, but other than that, it's in pretty good condition. Apart from them writing all over it. It may of course be a previous owner to the one I bought it from. So again here you've also got a German mortar team, their Afrika Korps outfits, machine gun team with an MG34 I think it is, and then you've got the various posed soldiers as you go through. On the back, this might remind you of the Panzer, was it the Panzer III, which had this figure in next to the buildings, the diorama. And here you got lots of khaki drill and khaki drab for the Afrika Korps. And yeah, it's a nice. In helmet. Oh, there's some in helmet as well apparently. Oh, just zoom in on this, so you can see. So this is P5004. Yeah, it's a shame about the writing. It sort of knocks a bit of value off it, really. And then you've got what looks like Rommel. There you go. Win Rommel included. How about that? Hey. So that's your Afrika Korps. Let's take a closer look at these guys then. Now again, I haven't opened this box at all yet. I am led to believe they're on the sprue. Well, most of them are. Maybe not everybody. Oh, they are. Oh, I think I've discovered gold here. Are they on the sprue? Is everybody there? Yes, this is absolutely as per new. Now, I didn't fully appreciate that. I thought most of them were on the sprue, but I thought some were off it. So this is actually a bit of a bonus. So we've actually got some Germans with helmets on, and some are in the sort of cloth caps. Now you can see what I was saying about the. You can see a halo of flash on these. You'll see it there, and this was pretty typical, I'm afraid. And it was very variable as well. I don't know whether it's to do with how hot the plastic was. You can see how squidgy, sort of soft and squidgy it is as a material, And it's like I say, it's like a polyurethane type of stuff. Some figures have got more flash than others, interestingly. Yeah, we'll see that as we go down. So let's just zoom in again, and we'll go through them row by row. And it's nice that I can show them this way, because at least this way you get to see a bit more detail. It's a bit easier to present it, really. Yeah, you can see there's like just that fine halo of flash, and it is a bit of a pig to get rid of, I have to be honest. It doesn't sand off easily because it's very soft. It sort of flexes around when you're trying to cut it or sand it. I remember it now. But look at these figures. This is good, isn't it? Like an officer who's pointing. I think he's directing the mortar crew, or possibly a machine gun crew. And you've got what looks like maybe Rommel. The halo of flash it definitely catches on your eye. I remember that most of them had this flash. Very typical of the time. Here we've got our machine gun team. Look on the ground. We've got two guys here who are the loader with the ammunition box. Then on the ground we've got a guy on his belly. He's crawling with his rifle. So sorry, there again. Other side is the ammunition loader guy for the machine gun. Then we've got our soldier on his belly crawling, and then we've got this chap with an MP40 machine pistol shouting for his colleagues with the look of it. Then we've got a couple of them charging with bayonets, fixed bayonets. And then we've got a couple of them charging with their MP40s. They look really nice, don't they, actually? Seem to have less flash as we go down the sprue. And you've got the mortar crew guy dropping the mortar round into the tube, which I'm sure we'll come to in a second, I hope. Yes. Oh yeah, it's on the sprue, we've got it. Yes, it's a complete set. This Africa Corps is actually better than it looked. And then we've got the rifleman, and then we've got the MG34, I think it is, MG34. Yeah, I think the MG43 came a bit later in the war, didn't it? I think it's the 34 here. And then you've got, again, the mortar round guy. They're nice though, aren't they? Aren't they well figured? And say, as you go down the sprue, they seem to get less flashy. Still a trace of it, but not as bad as up here, where you can see they've got the halo around them. You know, it's almost like perhaps the plastic was hotter at this end or something. It's a lovely set, especially when they're all on the sprue. This is a real nice one to have original condition like this. So here we go. I have to say to you, it's very similar actually. It seems to be more flash at the top of the sprue, interestingly. So we've got a couple of guys with a typical steel helmet on charging with bayonets. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them in fact. And then we've got a kneeling rifleman. Again, a flash of halo, a halo of flash, I should say. Guy standing with the cap on, and he's got the MP40, Schmeiser, if you will. And then we've got the same guy, the sitting guy again, sorry, kneeling I should say. And then this time we've got the chap with the MP40, and this time he's standing up, taking aim, shooting. And the detail on them is really good, isn't it? For such a small scale, you know. Then we've got the grenadiers here with their potato masher, granada. About to throw the grenades. And then we've got another couple of guys again on the belly crawling with their rifles, look. This is definitely bringing back memories for me now. And then over here we've got a British soldier, looks like a Scots Highlanders or something. He definitely looks like one of the Scottish divisions who's surrendering. Oh man, that's a bit of a kick in the teeth to the Brits, isn't it? Could be Canadian, couldn't he, I guess? But that's a nice figure, isn't it? Comrade, I surrender. Get his shorts on, what? Bit unfortunate. There's two of those as well as one on the other side, look. Isn't that good though? I'm not sure if I remember that actually, the surrendering soldier. And then you've got your mortar in the middle. So that's your lot. That's really quite a good set, isn't it? I'm actually very impressed with this. And it says Leslie products made in England. I don't know if you spotted that actually, I'll just zoom you into that bit. Leslie products made in England, there you go. Original product. Made in England. The original and best version of Matchbox. Wow, I'm quite taken aback by that. That is really a lovely set, isn't it? I was quite surprised. I thought there'd be... I had it in my mind that when I bought it there was going to be several off the sprue. But no, that's true perfect original flash. It's perfect as it can be with all this flash. It's just part of the process, as I say. It's quite normal. You see, it's the thread that runs through all of them. Not quite as bad on the bigger scale, 32nd scale versions of the figures, to be fair. But yeah, very, very common on the 72nd scale. And then finally, we've got the British infantry. I hope they make it fair if they've got a captioned German. I bet they haven't. Now this is completely sealed, so I'm just figuring out the best way to get into it. So bear with me a second, because I want to show them to you. I think it has to be done sealed or not. So I'm going to use the blade very, very carefully. To get in. And then down the side, and I can, it should have been relative ease, I should be able to open it for you to demonstrate what we've got. There we go. Now then, sorry about that. So I've just opened like a flap at the end here. So sorry, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Let's have a look at what it actually shows on the side there. So here we've got a Vickers machine gun team this time. British mortar crew, British bazooka, and a guy with a Bren gun. Look at that, no messing about here. And then we've got our officer here with the walkie-talkie. Whoops. Try and get this light off it. There we go. Walkie-talkie, and he's got a Sten. Is it a Sten? Well, I have to say to you, that looks like a Sterling, the later version of the Sten, so that's not really right for World War II. It says British infantry, but that's like, if you look closely at that gun, that's a Sten. It should be a Sten, it's actually a Sterling. Tell by the ventilation holes on the barrel, outer barrel jacket. Shroud. That's an interesting slight faux pas. And then on the other side we've actually got again the full set, showing you this time it's P5001, and here you go. The chap looks a bit like, I don't know, General Brooke perhaps, but they look like World War II guys to me, so I'm not sure why this Sten becomes a Sterling, but anyway. Let us open it, see what we got in this last one. And yeah, I think it'll be quite interesting, because this should be, if this truly is mint, then it should all be again on the sprue, you know. So I'm having a bit of trouble here. I'm trying to be careful and not overly eagerly opening it, which is not as easy as it looks. It's the first time it's ever been opened. There's a reason it's not eager to open, it's because it's actually glued a bit. There we go. Right, we're in. First time it's ever been opened, this from new. Dated, I think it's 83 this. Yeah, 83. So it's a reissue of the 76, and here we go. Obviously you don't get decals with these, and they are sort of what they are. So you get sprue A, sprue B, made in England again. Oh yeah, these look nice. But again, the flash is visible, you know, and I say that is completely typical of them. So, see them face on first. Here we go. So you've got the guy, now he's using what looks like a Sten gun. You can tell by the way he's holding it as well, that's a Sten. It seems to be the officer. Yeah, the officer has got what looks like a Sterling. It's definitely a faux pas, this. A slight Matchbox slip up, I think. They've got, but I'm splitting hairs. Let's not worry about that. So yeah, you got them Sten gun guys. Then you got your Bren gunner with his big Bren gun, heavy caliber weapon. 4 of those. So here's your Sten gun boys from the back. And then your Bren gun guys. Let me see both rows. And there we go. See both rows. And it's again, it's Lesney products. Made in England, written on the side this time. And then we've got the General here, directing things. There he is from the rear. And you've got your machine gunner. And you can see the basic layout, the basic configuration is the same as it was in the Germans, wasn't it? With your ammunition guy, you've got your captain, I think he is there, with his Sterling from the 1970s, but anyway. You got your rifle, the Enfield rifle, of course, for these guys. Then you've got your, you can see the halo of the flash, can't you, here? With your mortar loader. Charging, bayonets fixed, look at that, bayonet charge, nasty. And we've even got our own British crew for the flamethrower crew. There they are. Yeah, but it seems flashier, this one. I suspect this is one of the bigger sellers, and it's probably the mold's getting a bit tired, I don't know. There's your mortar. And then finally you've got your officer. It looks a bit like Sean Connery in A Bridge Too Far, that pose, doesn't it? With his pistol drawn and urging his men on. With the cap he's got on as well. Very Sean Connery. And then you've got the guy standing above the mortar who actually drops it down the tube. So that's very nice. Then the second, I've got to tell you that the second, as we sometimes seem to be finding, the second sprue has got far less flash on it, which is a good thing, obviously. This is a bit of a cleaner one. Have a look at this. So here we've got the kneeling rifleman with his Lee Enfield, and then you've got your officer. Looks like a captain or a major, I think this guy is. That's nice though, isn't it? What a nice figure. That's particularly good, that one. I like that one. And then you've got more charging. Whoops. Got more charging bayonets fixed guys. You've got your bazooka team. Bazooka Joe. And you've got your Vickers team, machine gun team. Turn those round to the other side. Vickers team. Bazooka team. Charging, bayonets fixed. They don't like it up 'em, Captain Maverick, they don't like it up 'em. Oh, they don't like it up 'em or down 'em. Looks like they're going down 'em on this one. Nasty. In fact, there's a lot of these guys giving it to the enemy on the ground. Brutal. And then, of course, it wouldn't be complete without the grenade team, the grenadiers, throwing their grenades. On the other side. And then you've got a chap with his standing with the Lee Enfield taking aim, and then yet another one charging. There's a whole set of these guys charging with bayonets fixed, aren't they? Look at them, they're everywhere. What a nice set though it is. Got to say, that's very impressive, and that's absolutely mint condition. That's exactly as it came from the factory. I know I've broken the seal to show it you, so I hope you appreciate it. I probably just lost about a tenner in value. But that first sprue, even the sprue itself, you look at it, it's got this horrendous halo of flash on it, and this one hasn't. So that last one's much nicer, but that's quite typical of how they work. When you put them together, they feel like rubber, you know. What a nice set though. So there you go. So there you go, some figures. Now I may invest in some more of these figures because I'm quite enjoying them, I've got to be honest. And, I also want to get my hands on them and get some German infantry and one or two other things, maybe the Japanese. I did have the opportunity on eBay to get a set that was Germans and Japanese, and I've got to be honest, I screwed up my timing of the auction, didn't do a very good job of it, so I missed out. These things happen, don't they? Anyway, I hope you found that interesting though, a bit of a taster for those of you that have never seen the Matchbox figures. And you know, I know they've got bases on, so if you're doing a proper diorama, you can always cut the base off and glue them in place into a scene or onto your existing Matchbox diorama. That's all you need to do, remove the base. Easy. You can see that, you know, these really do complement the armour and diorama kits very, very well indeed. And they really add something. Even if you just use, you know, 4 or 5 of them, it just brings to life the diorama scene a little bit more, doesn't it? And I think that's what a lot of us did. I certainly added them to my dioramas, painted them up. Tricky to paint, it's like painting rubber. As I say, you need to use a primer on them. But they're paintable. And the detail is good, you know, if you've got a good eye and a fine brush, you can really make them pop. A little bit of a weathering wash, very mild on it. They really pop, these figures, really do pop. So there you go, some Matchbox May figures. More to come from Matchbox May, including, as I mentioned earlier, a bloody big ship. that's gonna fill this desk, I think. I've seen the box, it's huge actually. 72nd scale, yeah, it's a monster. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, I'm going to meet up with Jason from Model Kit Stuff, and he's going to loan me that for a couple of days, and we'll get that hopefully to you in a week or so. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it interesting. I'm going to be doing a little tribute to Roy Cross in the next few days, so stay tuned for that. I think you'll find that those of you that of a certain age and grew up with Airfix kits. I really enjoy that actually. So it certainly brings some nostalgia waves running over us like a waterfall, you know. Anyway, thanks so much. Now don't forget to give us a like, give us a thumbs up, 10 out of 10, and subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to ding the notification bell and tick the all option, and if you do that you'll be well in place to get early notification of the next video that's coming up. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Please stay well, stay safe. Thanks for all your time. See you very soon, and in the meantime, thanks a lot, and bye for now.